We are living in an absolutely wild time of technological growth. Artificial intelligence, robotics. This isn't sci-fi stuff anymore. It's real, and it promises this incredible future of abundance. But here's the thing. What if that same tech is also, subtly paving a road towards more control? Okay, let's just dive right in with a question that gets right to the point. We all kind of assume that every new app, every new gadget, every breakthrough just automatically adds to our personal freedom. But is that always true? So today we're going to dig into an argument that says, hey, maybe our most powerful new tech is actually doing the opposite of making us more free. So that leads us right into our first big idea, the concept of technology as a double-edged sword. On one hand, you've got this incredible progress, but on the other, you've got this massive potential for power to get stuck in the hands of just a few people. And look, we're not talking about just slow and steady improvements. We're talking exponential growth. Stuff like AI and robotics. They're not just getting a little better every year. Their power is literally doubling at a mind-blowing pace. It's like this giant tidal wave of change that's honestly hard to even wrap your head around, let alone try to control. So what happens when you have this kind of exponential power? Well, that brings us right to what we're calling the centralization dilemma. It's this natural pull, almost invisible, that happens whenever systems get really, really powerful. The heart of the problem is pretty simple, actually. The more powerful and complex a piece of tech gets, the more it just naturally ends up being controlled by one central group. Just think about it. The huge data centers, the brilliant teams, the billions of dollars it takes to build a top-tier AI. That kind of power doesn't just appear in everyone's garage, right? It centralizes. So this really lays out the two roads we can go down. On one side, you've got the centralized way. That means one point of control, it's easy to censor, and all the big decisions are made behind closed doors. On the other side, you've got decentralized systems. They're open, they're tough to shut down, and the power is spread out among everyone who uses it. The whole point here is that for the stuff that really matters, that centralized path is starting to look super risky. Okay, so that brings us to the proposed solution. The idea is, if we're going to build all this amazing new stuff, we've got to build it on a totally different kind of foundation, a decentralized one. So what exactly is decentralization? Well, to put it simply, it's a system with no boss. There's no CEO, no main server, no single person who can just flip a switch and shut it all down or change the rules whenever they feel like it. The rules are literally baked into the code, and it's the network, all the users together, that makes sure those rules are followed. All right, here's a cool analogy to make this stick. Picture a powerful new AI as this giant, amazing skyscraper, just reaching for the clouds. Now, you could build that skyscraper on land owned by one single company, a company that could change the rules on you, or heck, even tear the whole thing down. Or you could build it on a foundation of solid bedrock, something that can't be changed, totally transparent, and owned by no one. That bedrock, that's the decentralized layer. It makes sure the skyscraper is there for everyone inside, not just for the landlord calling the shots. So, the argument really breaks down into three simple steps. 1. Exponential tech is creating this massive amount of power. 2. That power, as we've seen time and time again, tends to centralize, and that creates some serious risks. And so, 3, we need decentralized systems to act as a counterbalance, to keep all that power in check. But how does this all work in the real world? How can we anchor our digital future so it's actually stable and trustworthy? Well, the argument points to a real-world example of this principle that's already out there, working right now. Let's use a metaphor here. If all this fast, unpredictable tech change is a storm raging around us, well, we're going to need an anchor, something that holds us steady, something predictable and stable, no matter how crazy the waves get. And decentralized protocols, with Bitcoin being the classic example, are designed to be that digital anchor. So what does an anchor like this actually do for us? And look, this is about way more than just digital money. It's about setting up a base layer of rules for our digital lives that nobody can just change on a whim. It gives us real, verifiable ownership of our digital stuff. And maybe most importantly, it's a living, breathing example of rules without rulers, a system that works fairly without a boss. And that is a huge counterbalance to all those other centralizing forces we're seeing. At the end of the day, this whole conversation is about so much more than just code and networks. It really leads us to a deeper question, like what does it even mean to be human in this crazy new age of tech? This really gets to the heart of why any of this matters. The quote here says it all. The future of tech must reconnect with human agency and identity. The point isn't just to build faster computers, right? It's to make sure that the future we're all building actually helps us choose, act, and be free individuals. So yeah, this whole debate, centralized versus decentralized, it's not just some nerdy argument for engineers. It's a huge choice we're making about our future. It's about deciding right now to build a world where our tools empower us, not the other way around. And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. We're literally building the operating system for the next 100 years, one line of code at a time. So the big question we've got to ask ourselves is this: as technology writes our future, who should be holding the pen? A tiny group of people or all of us? So, if this got you thinking and you want to dive deeper, you should definitely check out the source for this explainer, the podcast What Bitcoin Taught Me. And hey, of course, be sure to follow, like, and share our stuff. You can find us on X, Nostr, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Spotify, and now on YouTube too.